Welcome to Seniors Count. I am your host, Tula Mall. On our show, we believe that you are the foundation on which Boston was built. So our goal is to connect you to resources, benefits, and information to enhance your life. Thank you for joining us. Today we welcome artist Debra Block, who is here to share her newest project, Interactive Senior Theater. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tula. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's always fun to have you. So why don't you start by describing musical theater and how it played a role in your early life?
Well, when I think back to what it was that kind of made musical theater a passion, it was really back to my grandmother. My grandmother, during the flapper era was, she was a pianist who trained at Boston Conservatory, and she used to do all the flapper parties and entertain, and she just really inspired me and to really love music.
What were you a part of musical theater were you on stage? Were you in the background? What did you?
I was always directing something. I was more of the director person than the actual, well, I also, thinking back, I also took, I studied dance for many, many years, in particular jazz dance and musical theater dance. So I guess I was doing some tapping or something.
Front of the room and back of the room, right? Or back of the stage.
Exactly, yes.
What has your experience been in human service? So tell me a little bit about how you've been involved in working with older adults.
Okay, I graduated college with a degree in psychology, but when I got out, I really just was kind of, again, I had that inspiration to be involved in the arts. It's always been part of me. And so I started teaching theater to children, and I did that for about 23 years. And then when my mom passed away about 10 years ago, I decided that I wanted to get involved in senior services. She was a geriatric social worker. So I got a job as an activities director at a community, an assisted living community in Newton. And I loved that very much. And after that, I went to Boston and I managed a senior center there.
Wow.
And did the activities as well.
Go ahead.
So I decided that I wanted to merge, or something in me decided that it wanted to merge both of my interests, and that's how I got involved in senior theater.
Nice. So you've done the spectrum. You worked with young adults, or young children maybe, and now you're working with older adults. How interesting.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the moment you first weaved these two interests, your musical theater and the programming with older adults.
Well, actually, I had the Fiddler on the Roof production was something that I wanted to do and have my father be Tevye. Because my father was quintessentially the Tevye character. He had a lot of the same personality traits that Tevye had. He came from a very similar background. So he had moved into a community in Brookline, 100 Center Street, Center Communities of Brookline, and I decided that I'd like to try to do the play there. So we had about 20 people, 20 seniors, independent seniors, get involved in the production, and people just thought it was off the charts. They thought it was just wonderful. The staff, the administration, these seniors and their family members.
So tell us describe what is, I think you're getting to it, but describe a little bit about what is interactive senior theater.
Interactive senior theater, what makes the productions that I do different, perhaps, than other productions is that I really and this isn't necessarily the case that it's different, but my focus is to concentrate on the process rather than the production per se.
Like the final thing, right?
Yes, rather than the final performance. So we talk a lot about characters and how the seniors identify with the characters, with the content of the plot, And I think that's what engages them so much in the production. And then that it goes to the audience members. So I also make sure that the audience members are involved in the production when we do it.
Okay, so I think it's hard, even though I know what it is, to understand it without watching it. So we're gonna actually, speaking about Fiddler on the Roof, you brought a clip.
I did.
And we're gonna play a clip that you did at the Hebrew Senior Life Newbridge, right? So can you kind of just set the stage a little bit about the clip we're gonna watch, so people can really understand what this means?
Sure. The people at Newbridge, there are a number of different communities at Newbridge. The people that I dealt with were in the skilled nursing community. They were all in wheelchairs. Some of them had cognitive medical issues, and some of them did not. So in order to do the production, everybody had to have a music stand in front of them with a script. And they were allowed to, it was somewhat of a reader's theater, so they read through the script, and there was a musical director, professional music director, who was also helping make sure that the music was done well. And we engaged the audience in the production as well.
Nice. Well, so let's watch the clip, and then we can come back and chat about it.
Okay.
Children did not meet and fall in love. Instead, a matchmaker fixed them up according to their parents' wishes. The matchmaker, or Shachan, named Yamcha, wanted to fix up the older daughter, Seidel, with a wealthy butcher named Laser Wolf. But Seidel loved Muddle, the poor tailor. Here are 3 scenes related to this.
How many of you in the audience believe that matchmaking can work? Raise your hands. 1, 2. Okay. How many of you have had parents or grandparents who were match-made? Who had you did. Your grandmother. Did it work? It did. So that makes 3. Your brother. Okay, Sprinza. So how many of you wish that you had used a matchmaker? That's what I thought. Cast, turn to page 9. Audience, stay on your matchmaker page. What page is that? Page 3. Mama, Yento's coming.
Mama, Yento's coming. She's down the road.
Maybe she found a good match for you, Psycho.
From your mouth to God's ears. She has to come now. It's almost Shabbos. Go, finish in the barn. I want to talk to Yenta alone.
Mama, can I go out and play?
You have feet. Go.
Can I go out to play? Yes.
Go too. But Mama, the men she finds, they're so old and they're bald. They have no hair. A poor girl without a dowry can't be too particular. Now, if you want hair, find a monkey. Oh, after all, Mama, I'm not even 20 years old yet. Shh. Do you have to boast about your age? Do you want to tempt the evil eye? Golda, darling, I had to see you because I have such news for you. And not just every day of the week news, once in a lifetime news. And where are your daughters? Outside? No? Good. Such diamonds, such jewels. You'll see, Golda. I'll find every one of them a husband. But you shouldn't be so picky. Even the worst husband. God forbid, is better than no husband at all. God forbid. Wait. And who should know better than me? Ever since my husband died, I've been a poor widow, alone, nobody to talk to, nothing to say to anyone. It's no life. All I do is think about him, and even thinking about him gives me no pleasure, because you know as well as I, he was not much of a person. Never made a living. Everything he touched turned to mud. But better than nothing. But what's the use complaining? Other women enjoy complaining, but not Yenta. Not every woman in the world is a Yenta. Well, I must prepare my poor Sabbath table. So goodbye, Golda. And it was a pleasure talking our hearts out to each other.
So welcome back. That was a great clip.
Thank you.
And I think that really
Thanks.
illustrates what interactive theater is like. So they had costumes. You said you partnered up with someone to do the music, right?
Yeah, a professional musician who used to be with the Winokur Band. He's a wonderful musician.
Yeah.
So we had great accompaniment. We also had a violinist playing as well, a roving violinist. I think he was actually, I stole him from one of your events at the Altar Commission.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, so he was there playing the violin. So it was very lively, and it really motivated them and excited them.
And there was cue cards I saw, so telling the audience to laugh and whatever else. I really liked that.
That's correct, and that was actually one of the residents' idea. She had been involved in theater at one point, and she had that idea, and so I just allowed her to go with it.
So in planning for this or in preparing for this, it is a performance. Was there practice, or was it kind of, you show up one time and talk a little bit about how the whole thing happens, how many days or what the preparation was for the performance?
It was quite extensive. There were 14 1.5-hour rehearsals.
Wow.
And that included a music rehearsal or full dress rehearsal, costume and music. As well, that included that, and as well as the performance. So actually, it was probably about 13 hours.
Do you feel
hour and a half? Yeah.
Or what was the response from the actors? Was that too much for them? Did they enjoy that? Did it encourage them? Did it discourage them? Tell me a little bit about
They absolutely loved it. I mean, they really were so engaged. It was, I mean, I had heard from the staff that they really looked forward to it. They took it really seriously. I mean, these became their people. They became their parts. So they were very conscientious about what they wore and how they looked and how they sounded. And if they didn't show up for a rehearsal, they were upset that they didn't show up. So it was something that was really, and we're actually doing another performance. We're taking this group from Newbridge, we're taking them on the road and we're having them perform for another skilled nursing community in Roslindale because it had met with so much enthusiasm from the administration.
Wow. And talk a little bit about, so in the first part of the clip, you kind of interacted with the audience. You asked them, so it wasn't just a straight performance. You were actually trying to engage the audience too about things you heard in the play. Tell us a little bit about that and why you do that.
I think, another big part of doing this interactive senior theater is actually coming up with the right questions to ask audience members, and to ask the seniors first that are rehearsing, and then to ask the audience members, so that, again, I mean, the question about the matchmaker, that was something that, some of them had parents that were made, put together by a matchmaker, a shotgun in Yiddish is what they call her. So they could really identify with what the matchmaker was. So having them think about, were you married? You know, did you meet a matchmaker? What do you think of the concept of matchmaking? Just brings them into the production.
Yeah, it engages them.
It engages them, exactly.
Do you find that you performing these older plays, or maybe something that more in lines with what those people knows, really resonates? Or have you done a more modern play? Or talk to me about why you choose certain plays.
That's an excellent question. I mean, I think this play did resonate with both populations.
It looks like it did, yeah.
Although there were people, I mean, Tevye, Fiddler on the Roof, was took place in Tsarist Russia, and it was in a Jewish Orthodox community. But there were people in the cast that were not Jewish. And one of them in particular, the woman that played Golda, she was very concerned that you know, she wasn't, but she was one of the best actresses in the production.
Oh, wow.
And at the end of the production, when Golda asked Tevye, or Tevye asked Golda if she loved him, when she responded to that, she actually cried.
Oh.
And she told me about that. So she, you know, she was able to go deep and really, really
Find that character.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
find that character.
Which I think goes to say something about the work that you're doing. I mean, it's not that they're just reading a script. I mean, they're really learning who that character is and acting that out. I mean, that's what acting is, right?
Exactly. And I think I don't think I answered your question exactly, but you had said something like choosing the scripts. I mean, choosing the scripts is not easy.
I can imagine.
It's not an easy process, because I do want to choose scripts that are going to resonate with these populations.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with doing a comedy.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of Christmas productions that I can do. We're thinking about doing My Fair Lady, or
that's a good
South
one.
Pacific,
Yep.
and we can
another good one.
find something in each of those that has meaning for the seniors.
So on that note, do you find that these older musicals elicit memories or feelings of nostalgia to both the characters or the actors and the audience?
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So because you're trying to engage them, right, on a day-to-day basis.
And I'm working with as an activities or life enrichment person, one of the programs that we find very valuable to seniors is reminiscing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And when you sit and you talk to the seniors, and they come out with these incredible oral histories or these memories that connect each other, that is very valuable. So I make sure that that's a huge part of what I'm doing in this.
Do you find, like, at the end of a production, so you know you perform the play somewhere, that there's a lot of chatting, or how is the audience response? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think one of the actors said, "It makes me feel alive."
Wow.
And that's what I found in both the fiddlers that I did. The one at 100 Center was with independent residents, and the other with skilled nursing folks, that it really made them feel like they were living again. And that was the response. The audience members, the family members, the other residents, the staff, and the administrative staff that were there, and there were psychologists at the second production as well, they all commented how valuable the programming was and how wonderful they thought it was.
Nice. What have you learned as a facilitator of this project?
I mean, I've been touched so much by listening, by having them respond to their characters and listening to how they respond as human beings. I have just been touched.
But tell me a little bit more about that. What has touched you? Is it them sharing their stories, or the nostalgia? Or tell me a little bit. Why is that emotion elicited from you?
I think because I feel that my work has been successful.
That's nice, and that feels good. That feels good.
Yeah.
So if you can believe it, we're almost at the end of our show.
Wow.
I know.
That was quick.
So tell me, how will interactive senior theater grow, and what are your goals for bringing this to the wider community?
Well, I have about 8 different productions scheduled within the next 2 months in different communities. We haven't actually scheduled a production per se, but I'm going to the communities to meet the residents, to see to get a feel for what they might be interested in. So I think I think what's important too is just getting these communities to buy into rehearsing, because the rehearsal part is the valuable part.
Yeah, I mean, 14 sessions.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
So not all of them will be 14 sessions
Yeah.
because there are budgets and
Yeah.
not all the communities are able to have 14 sessions. But I hope that we'll be able to accommodate those communities that perhaps don't have as much money but are able to do maybe 3 or 4 sessions and get a production out of that.
So simpler story, maybe.
Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for
Right.
the holidays,
Right.
or I don't know.
No, you're right.
Something adorable like that.
They have, there's a great resource called Arts Age, and it's put out by a woman, a theater teacher from Portland, Oregon, and I have some really great scripts that I'm reading or that I've read that I'm going to be using with other communities.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for sharing what you're doing with interactive musical theater for older adults. I think it's great work. I mean, you can tell by the clip that the cast is getting so much out of it, as well as the audience. So wish you all the best, and hopefully we can help you out.
Thank you, Tula. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
It's great to
of course.
see you again.
You too. Thank you for watching Seniors Count, brought to you by Mayor Martin J. Walsh and our Commissioner Emily Shea. To contact us, please call 617-635-4366. You can also call the Mayor's 311 hotline, or you can call 617-635-4500. You can email us at elderly@boston.gov, or you can find us on Facebook. Take care and see you next time.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself.